competitive. We'll see if they can play around this Aphelios. The Aphelios has to be big DPS carry here for these team fights, and there it is, the Infinity Edge done now for Unforgiven. So things could get a lot better now for Evil Geniuses. They've got the Ivern to keep him safe, Redemption, plus the Moonstone, a lot of healing and shielding there. See if they can do it against this very CC heavy, tanky Cloud9 team that doesn't have as high late game peaks in DPS. It is an Ashe team, it is a Static Shiv LeBlanc team. So while Cloud9 do have a lot of options still, and for the foreseeable future as well, the end game peaks here for Evil Geniuses have big damage possibilities with Aphelios and Jace.
And these are big mid-game spikes as well for both of your main carries on Evil Geniuses. A lot of damage coming through with those shock blasts. Jace is really the only character that can, from a safe range, damage and poke the members of Cloud9's backline down before a fight begins, because anytime Cloud9 just want to start a fight, it's the failure clump. You have pretty much 3 ways to start and engage in your favor, and if Evil Geniuses don't get the poke off right, then the health advantage is really going to be what costs them in the end.
All right, looks like we're going to get the 4-1 split push. Both sides opposite positions at the moment, where they have MNS on bottom side pushing out with his Static Shiv, trying to then rotate up into the river. They do secure themselves Scuttle Crab well before the Dragon. 1 minute out here on number 3.
Both teams taking a reset here as the action kind of calms down on the Rift. I mean, both of these teams are no strangers to bantering about each other. Cloud9 in multiple third-party interviews, whether it's Degon or whether it's Travis, talking about, yeah, EG are frauds, man. Like, they constantly are not it for them. And Evil Geniuses, I think it was Ayla recently saying, you know, Cloud9 is super beatable. I mean, they can call us frauds all they want, but these guys are not immortal. They are not untouchable. We can take games off of these guys.
Let's see if they actually can. Revenge on the ward spotted. They're pinging him on the way down, and Ayla, he's got his sight set towards Sven, gets the flash pretty early.
Ayla still has this flash, so he can always look for a Magnet Storm flash engage or a Q flash gauge combo. Jojo looking for some poke.
Cloud9 need a full-on dive team fight. They need a flank angle. And maybe this time around, Fudge has to use Q1 preemptively, so he comes in with Q2 and 3 a lot quicker before he gets popped. Ayla here.
Oh, but he gets spotted on a ward. That crucial timing from Sven could have denied a game-ending engage from Ayla there, as Cloud9 back off and retreat towards the Baron side of the map where they have more vision. They're staying on top of this controlled ward where they know for certain that Evil Geniuses have no vision, cannot see for sure. They're waiting to use the Glacial Prison, the Crystal Enchanted Arrow. Those are the main engages. Now, Evil Geniuses and Cloud9 have pretty much swapped sides as Daisy finds the root caller onto Blabber. Frontline Glacial Prison right on top of Revenge. He soaks it all up. He has the trigger season, the shields, and the healing from Armail available as Cloud9 now starting to lean toward the right side of the mid lane. Glacial Enchanted Arrow right on top of Ayla, but he's soaking on up, and Blabber's still lost a lot of HP. They find the root caller into Sven. He has no flash from him now. Last time is available as well. Sven burning down, and flashing forward, and that is the Aphelios ult into Moonlight Vigil. Fudge tries to find damage in the back, but he has forced to run away. Armail flashing forward to guarantee the root. Fudge trying to life steal as much as possible, but it goes down in the end. Evil Geniuses make a way, but they are too low to start at the Baron.
Oh my goodness, Unforgiven with the ult flash. We were looking at the Aphelios to be the big difference maker, and he does just that. 500 gold bounty on his head. They're teleporting Revenge right back in. They're not done. They've got the Ivern with the shields here. They can infinitely tank up this Baron. They're starting it up. MNS on the outside with a Scryer's Bloom.
Distortion over the wall, poking and prodding, trying to use the Static Shiv to get some extra chip damage as well with the Night Harvester. Berserker being able to fire a volley in. Ayla engages right on top of MNS. He doesn't have flash. He uses it immediately right after, and he gets out of life, but he's on top of a ward. Jojo looking for the accelerated shock flash. Enchanted Arrow once again available, but Evil Geniuses should be able to walk this one out. Sven has no flash, no Glacial Fissure to keep them in line, but Jojo's pretty slow unless he can hit that air drake speed buff. He's trying to run away, but he's been tagged. Fudge is coming over the wall. Evil Geniuses might just have to leave their mid laner for death as Cloud9 find one straggler, and they don't want to let anyone go. Glacial Prison right on top of Revenge. Unforgiven, no flash available, still has a cleanse, running out of mana, trying to fire as many autos as he can. Fudge gets stunned over the tower. Cloud9, they thought they could get Geniuses withstand it all.
That's one dive too many, a bridge too far for Cloud9, trying to dive when the Aphelios is still full health there. Unforgiven immediately puts a stop to that one, but you know why. Cloud9 are getting so desperate because they're getting pushed off these team fights. So much sustain and value here out of the Ivern and out of the scaling possible damage here. Unforgiven, look at the work he does with green and blue guns, and then he switches over to blue. Daisy got the knockup, sets him up, boom, ult flash, blue gun explosion, gets 2 for himself. Big attempted hero play from Fudge, tries to pull the game back here, does get at least 1 kill onto JoJo to delay, but that's not enough to stop EG from taking the Baron. They just teleported right back out and got it, and then we get in here and JoJo's down again, but that's another worthy sacrifice for EG. Cloud9 at this moment, they're very desperate to try and end the game because they can feel it slipping out of their fingers with the scaling, with the kills going over to EG, and that's just too far. Immediately gets locked up.
This is just game 1, Kobe, and my goodness, like both teams are still dead even in terms of gold. With the Baron buff on Evil Genius' side, they will have the opportunity to look for the siege in the mid lane. Another arrow comes out. No dice on that one. Glacial Prison, not yet available from Blabber, should be coming up in the minute. And now Evil Geniuses, they're gonna back off for now as Blabber does have ulti available.
Yeah, you just want to wait for your split push to go. When you're doing the 1-4 here, you want to wait for pressure at the same time, and Revenge was 1 wave back, so they slip into the jungle to give a little bit more safety there, make sure they don't get collapsed on the other side of their attack, then get the next minion wave here with the Daisy. This tower doesn't stand a chance, and they can keep the siege up.
Tier 2 falls in favor of EG. They have 3 Drakes to their name. 4 minutes until Soul is available for Evil Geniuses to take. Cloud9 only have 1 dragon on their side. But it's still a dead even game in terms of gold. This is still winnable by both teams.
This game actually says a lot for Evil Geniuses as a team in this series too, because this game has not been about the mid lane. It hasn't really been about JoJo. It's about these team fights for Evil Geniuses, and Revenge early lead in the top lane they've really been able to utilize pretty effectively for themselves. And now that we're into the team fights, it's about the difference in these 2 types of AD carry champions, because you mentioned how close the gold is, and as well as Berserker is playing, even with a bounty on his head, you've got triple item power spike Aphelios now. Those crits are going to be big. Armor penetration, he already had the Infinity Edge. Unforgiven here did a lot of work in the previous team fight, and we don't expect that to discontinue in the future here. Armeo's paid close attention, trying to keep him upright. He's Redemption, a lot of heal value out of the Redemption here from the Ivern, trying to protect. They put up an entire forest every time we have these standoffs towards an objective as well, providing a lot of support for them. And we'll see, back to the 4-1 split push here. Revenge does have teleport on the Renekton, but MNS is trying to get the top side going there for Cloud9, and it causes a answer here from EG.
It is actually incredible that Unforgiven has not died in any of these fights. And it's all really thanks to Armeo keeping him topped off on those shields, making sure that Trigger Seed, every time it is available, he's giving it to Unforgiven. And the fact that his only form of sustain comes from Fleet and maybe some lifesteal in his rune setup, he's not running Bloodthirster. He's not running Shield Bow. He's just depending solely on Armeo to keep him alive.
Yeah, and it's really hard for Cloud9 to kill him. That's why we're looking at the desperation for Cloud9 with the team comp that they're running. They know their damage is not ever going to keep pace with the EG damage, so they have to get these concentrated efforts to try and look for picks, to try and look for focus onto Unforgiven, and it's very difficult for them to do so. We've got a Lich Bane completed, as well as the Void Staff coming through here for MNS, though. So that LeBlanc, you know, you can eliminate the minion waves with your Static Shiv, and then you can try and get chunks on towers in the side lanes with your Lich Bane as well. It's just going to be difficult because EG already have 3 dragons, and Dragon Soul is going to become a possibility in just over a minute.
As you called it, Dragon will be available in just under a minute and 10 seconds. Baron is also up on the table with 45. Cloud9 putting a lot more of their vision in this red quadrant jungle, so they'll have the advantage when it comes to securing the setup for Baron. Evil Geniuses, I mean, I know Dragon Soul is the main goal for them, but they cannot just cede control of Baron so easily. They're going to have to find a way to brute force their way back into the river at some point.
I mean, it's just so difficult because EG will just always move up onto the wave, sprout all these brush with the Ivern. Here's the Ash Arrow through the middle.
Glacial Prison lands, but Unforgiven cleanses it. He still has a flash. Fudge looking for the teleport on the back flank, but he's immediately warded off by Ayla. Fudge looking to advance forward, but Ayla and Revenge, the front line, making sure that their back line is well protected. Jojo's the only one that has really suffered any real damage, as Armeo also took about a third of his HP.
Daisy down, Revenge is in!
They look for it. Sven is caught out. Root Caller, does he have flash available? Yes, he does. He's able to jump over the wall, but he gets bursted down by the Moonlight Vigil. Unforgiven is on a tear. Fudge can't even survive as Unforgiven with the damage bursts down Fudge. Two members gone from Cloud9. They can look easily for this Cloud Soul, and it would be far dangerous for Cloud9 to start up this Baron because Jojo and Ayla can both bully them off of it.
But Cloud9, you have to know, your tolerance for risk when your chances of winning the game in a standard game drop, you just have to take big risks here. So they at least go poking around the Baron to see if EG are asleep and would let them a window back into it, but that's not going to happen. EG just have one annihilate that dragon instantly, and EG will take both objectives. Blabber does have flash. Cloud9 no. If it's going to be anything, it's going to be now, and that's a big burst.
Enchanter already fired out, 1700 HP, but Blabber cannot get into the pit. Armeo secures the Baron, and Revenge will be the front line that makes sure that Cloud9 cannot prevent Evil Geniuses from recalling.
Oh my goodness. Evil Geniuses in game number 1 with a pretty strong statement here of team play for themselves versus Cloud9. Very impressive stuff. Let's see if they can finish it out now. Pretty smooth pathway laid out for them. They can once again, well, actually they're sending Revenge top even without the teleport. I think they feel confident enough to actually play all 3 lanes, which is kind of rare in League of Legends right now. Usually teams are really focused on just playing 2 lanes and doing 4-1 split push, but they've got the Baron buff, and they certainly have the lead at the moment, especially with the extra speed and cooldowns here from the Cloud Soul. I feel like they just feel confident enough to get those ones pushing. Then Jojo will join up for the rest of them, and they can do the much safer 4-1 here. Everybody else down through mid lane. Wow, looks like they're even going to just all meet up towards the easier standing gold as Ayla looks through the jungle here to try and fish around, see if they can find any picks. And look how confident now Unforgiven is with these massive shields on top of his head to look around. He's got a purple gun. You have to respect the possibilities of those picks coming here towards the mid stages of the game, and they're going for Revenge, trying to harass the split pusher here. They know he doesn't have flash, but even without that, the rest of the team is here to support. Nice kind of slow movement from EG to move it on up, and they will be able to get objective number 1 here.
Arrow lands on Ayla. He's able to crash down away from danger. Sven takes the root from Unforgiven as he fires right under the tower, but it's still available. Shock blast from Jojo over the right side wall, trying to poke Cloud9 while they are still trying to defend this tower. M&S looking for poke of his own. Doesn't get that much. That tower's gone, and Evil Geniuses fell it.
Yeah, he tried to poke Jojo, and Jojo just shot him in the face right there. He took like half his health bar in damage. Poke's not really worth it if your opponent is going to have a giant shock blast in your head. And it looks like the siege will just continue. 4-1 again. Revenge going to go try and get the mid lane wave moved right up.
Arrow's still not available for the next 30 seconds. Glacial Prison available for Blabber. They want to force a fight, but they need to make sure that they find Unforgiven. But he has Cleanse and Flash up, so even if they find that target, they would have to wait for him to use both summoners before engaging with the other one. Otherwise, Unforgiven can just get maximum efficiency out of both of those disengages. This tier 3 turret in the top side of the map at 50% HP, and EUG have a window to take it down. The inhibitor will be falling next as Cloud9 do everything they can to withstand the barrage, but Evil Geniuses have control of this one.
All right, rotate over to mid lane now, slowly but surely here. EG working it in. They only have this last minion wave to work with for Baron though, so they got to make this one worth it.
Teleport is coming from M&S as well. Can he look for the pick flank of an opportunity here in this game? Fudge gets turned on. Can they burst him down? M&S looking for the flank as well. Armeo gets bursted out. Jojo goes down as well. And now Unforgiven is the last person standing because Revenge falls to the onslaught of Cloud9. Have they found it? But Unforgiven steps up. Finds the burst onto 2. Can he live to survive 3? No, he can't. Cloud9 at the footsteps of their base managed to pull out the defense of a lifetime.
Let's see how hard they can push back. They're pinging down mid lane, but they don't have minions with them. So there will be some backdoor bonus. The crowd going wild here to try and keep this one alive for Cloud9. Blabber trying to tank it up. They do scratch the mid turret a little bit more, but gonna need some minions to take down that backdoor bonus. Man, right there too, the last moment of that Baron buff, they get an Ivern Q for the side of EG, hit onto Fudge, and EG uses everything diving in onto Fudge. The Aatrox here, who's pretty tanky and does have the healing of the Gore Drinker, so everybody taking this in onto the Aatrox opens up the dive perfectly for MNS. Blabber nails the backline here, and MNS, his timing with his teleport coming in on the flank just as EG all dove onto the Aatrox was really the perfect scenario for Cloud9 to be able to take back some kills in this game. They do get the ace. If we get back to live, we'll see they probably finished up that second turret in mid lane. It's still going to be difficult for them, though. Sven knows it.
Yeah. I mean, the looks on both of their faces is they know that this game is still a long ways away from going down. I mean, Evil Geniuses, for a while, had a solid gold lead, and now it is completely dissipated.
I will say, if there's some hope here, MNS now has 20 stacks on his Medjai's, level 18 LeBlanc. He's already had this blue potion ticking. Like, this is a max power LeBlanc at the moment with this build. He would have to change some items if he wants. Oh, here we go.
Revenge forced to slice and dice away to safety. Redemption heal puts everyone on EG back to full. They're still looking for engaged opportunities here. Glacial Prison still at the ready from Blabber. He throws it out, finds Revenge. Ayla forced to retreat as well. Revenge taking up as much as he could. Dominus, will it be enough? No, it's not. Berserker is able to put arrows into his back. Ayla falls as well, and suddenly, just like that, Evil Geniuses, they were just a few minutes or moments away from ending the game, being able to make one last push, but now Cloud9, they're the ones in the face of Evil Geniuses. They're gonna go all the way, Kobe.
They're gonna do it. Cloud9 looking for the end. They got 2 kills, and they want the game.
Wait, someone teleporting. Wait, Jojo is gonna try to go for a base race of his own.
They got it. They got it.
I don't know if that's the right play, but they had no other choice. Cloud9, take one chance and do not miss. Game 1 is theirs.
Whoa! Cloud9, pull it back. They don't care about your Dragon Soul. They don't care. Their inhibitor is down. They get the teleport flank from MNS at the exact right time when all of EG dive in on the Aatrox. Off of that fight, they then run up mid lane and pick 2 more and end the game. Decisive stuff here from Cloud9. They have won a lot of games like this in the LCS where they just come back, they win a team fight, and immediately push that through to your Nexus.
I am floored. Cloud9 were literally down almost 5,000 gold after the push, and EG were playing such a clean macro game for the past 5 minutes, and then it's just all gone.
But they still get the pick here. All the value of this CC, the Sejuani, the Ashe, the Braum, so much pick potential for this Cloud9 squad, and they show you can win games just with that. Sven laughing himself all the way to the Nexus.
I mean, he knows it's kind of a heist for Cloud9. But, I mean, Cloud9, the way that they were able to finesse that one absolutely deserved for the Game 1 win. And Evil Geniuses, I mean, the faces on from them, absolute horror, absolute just... Jojo's face looked like he was disgusted with the game.
Yeah!
Guys, like, what happened?
Because they were on the doorstep. It was right in front of them. Oof. All right, well, that was an exciting game number 1. If that's any indication for this series,
True.
we're in,
Yeah.
for some heart attacks.
Yeah, well, with Game 1 out of the way, we're going to head on over to the LCS Lounge to break that one down.
Welcome back to the LCS Lounge. That was a game 1.
It just ends. That's a shocker. It just ended so suddenly.
How's your mental after that one if you're EG?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, before every best of 5, our coach is always saying every game is a best of 1. But after this one, we gotta say, guys, it's a best of 5. You know? We still got 4 more potential games to go, so we gotta keep our mental intact. But honestly, the ending was really surprising. Like, EG had control pretty much throughout the majority of the game, and it just ended like that.
I'm going to pull up, I want to see the gold graph for this, because I love fun gold graphs. So let's see. Woo!
Oh, lordy.
Okay.
If this is any indication for how the rest of the series is going to go, this is a great series because the first 20 minutes were extremely close. EG won a couple of those mid-game team fights with Ivern being able to kill the front line of C9, it felt like. And then eventually, there was a monster flank, which brought the gold lead all the way back.
Yeah. MNS landed the big flank at the end, right? He had 20 stacks on a Soul Stealer by the end of the game. it's just a weird ending. Like
Yeah, it was so tense for so long with both teams kind of trading back and forth, and then C9 is getting advantages in lane. They are getting gold on people like Fudge, who got shut down early in lane by the Renekton.
Even the gold, there's the most C9 had was 2.5k. The most EG had was 4.5, which is still not a ton for a base ending push that they were kind of having around the mid inhibitor when they got jumped on.
Yeah.
Usually you're at like 10k when you do that. And I think it's really hard when you're playing a game to keep a perspective of like, we have Baron, we're pushing their base. We're actually not that far ahead though.
Yeah. Well, let's see I want to see the final fight again. I am curious because it just kind of looks like C9 just slow rolls over them.
And JoJo's cut off on the side, so he can't really do anything. He can't get poked through Blabber and Sven, and then by the time he could approach, there's already the front line dead. It makes me think like a little bit of outscaling happened when I think about the actual Sejuani Braum like beef versus, Renekton, Rel, Ivern. Feels maybe a little more mid-game, but the setup for that fight was just so C9 favored anyway.
Yeah, I mean, EG was split, and then if you're just hitting frontline like you're saying, it was really hard for the EG members to walk forward and get damage out, and so they just pelted down with Ash.
Yeah.
It feels like a sweep to me, man. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I was preparing my apology for calling EG frauds, but I will take that one back. I was in my mind trying to, prepare a monologue on how I'm sorry, but I mean, personally, I feel like EG was playing really well this game.
Yeah,
they were playing really, really well. They had control for most of the game. They were primed to win, besides that, the mistake in the base where they kind of threw a lot of gold. But honestly, I'm really surprised at how well EG is playing. And I mean, I feel good if I'm EG after this. Well, maybe not feel good, but
You try to feel good.
you try to feel good. We were winning until we're not.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll see if EG can kind of recover their mental. Look at the good things, like Spica said, that they did do in Game 1. Game 2 coming up on the other side of the break.
Why are they jumping, bro? Why are they getting like that? Why are they getting their heart pumped, like, bro?
Glacial Fissure right onto Revenge, but he soaks it all up. Fudge coming in for the left flank, and the Evil Geniuses all five like a pack of hyenas turned right into Fudge. Then the burning down, everybody flashing forward, and that is the Aphelios ult into Moonlight Vigil. Fudge tries to find damage in the back.
I'm dead. Red. Change. I don't want to pick. I'm chasing. Abby, okay? Yeah, look at it. I got it. Is that? We can. Can we? I think we can. Go man. There's no way, though. No, we can.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.
D-blade. Oh, actually, wait. Shoes, refill. Shoes, refill. Refillable potion. 150 potion. Green things, yes. Green things.
Hello and welcome to another LCS 1v1. Today we have C9 Fun taking on C9 Berserker. I have no idea. What are you guys going to play?
We're playing Yasuo.
All right,
Never
Yasuo
match
1v1. Let's
Yasuo,
go.
Bone plate and overgrowth. You know overgrowth? Bottom left. Okay. Attack speed?
To be fair, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's go. Ignite?
Sure.
Flash ignite. Go mid lane.
Go mid, right?
Wait, is this Howling Abyss?
I hope you guys
Yeah.
joined the right map.
Did you select the map? Did someone select the map?
Did you
Find
make
out
Lobby?
shortly.
Was it Summoner's Rift? The main League of Legends map.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're dodging.
Wait, we'll see.
We'll see.
No, it's Summoner's Rift. He's trolling. Whoa. I'm bending. It's a bit hard to... Whoa, you are outplayed, bro. Oh.
I throw.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Aggressive flashing. Oh my god.
Can I base in this? I can base, right?
Base.
I heard that I can base later.
Basing's kind of a coward's move, though. Gotta be honest.
Yeah.
I'm ready. My posture is awful, but my backing ability.
It's working.
Don't buy item, right?
What?
You buy that.
What do you mean, don't buy items? What the f*** is this guy to say?
Buying items is also kind of cringe. Almost everything Fudge does is like just...
Okay, Mark. Ironic, man.
This is a slaughter.
Is it?
I don't know, maybe.
I'll have a...
Yeah? 10 winning?